What we do not have a chair or a designated vice chair for the meeting. However, it looks like we do have a quorum tonight. So for the plan board members that are here and are present, the first item that we need to take care of is who is going to be the chair and who runs this meeting. It is not specifically on the agenda, but by virtue and order of being able to even have an agenda, we need to make this decision. And fortunately, that's all on you guys.
I would like to, oh, sorry.
Please.
I would like to move that member Stephanie Sutton serves as interim chair for this evening.
Okay.
Board members, we have
So,
a
well,
motion and a second.
Do we need the, no offense whatsoever, can a non-voting member make a motion or second?
No, we need a second from voting members.
Yeah, so they will not go across there, so.
Should we wait?
You want to get out and do that again?
We'll be number chair.
Okay.
Oh, sure, okay.
Give me 2 seconds to get back.
Okay.
We're gonna give this guy. Thank you very much, Patrick, for our audio visual, and we can give a very long one Mississippi,
I see one.
2 Mississippi.
2.5.
Yeah.
Is that the one there? Like,
2.5.
All right, I think we're on the air now, so we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Mr. Edelton, you're up first.
Can we please repeat what we did sort of before the recording to have an official recording of
So
addressing the absence of the chair and the vice chair?
Yeah, so I noticed that our chair and vice chair are absent tonight, so I would like to move that member Stephanie Sutton serve as interim chair for this evening.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second from voting members.
Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great.
So for the purposes of this meeting, staff understands that the plan board has designated Stephanie Sutton to be the chair for, again, the purposes of this meeting and guiding the agenda and the items on the agenda. Thank you all.
Great. So first up is adoption of the agenda. Can we get someone to motion to adopt the agenda as written, or if there's any changes?
Sorry, never mind. So, Madam Chair, I'd like to ask if we could reorder the items on the agenda and consider items 2 and 3, and then 1 and 4.
Okay. We'll need a voting member to make that motion,
So
if someone is.
I was wondering if we could postpone that discussion really quick because I had something else to bring up that might moot it if everybody agrees. We've talked about, well, some of us, not all of us, have mentioned at previous meetings that at least when we are discussing special use permits, because we are the final stop for those, that a representative of the city attorney's office be present. So because a representative from the city attorney's office is not present, I would like to actually continue the Dunbar special use permit item. I do think it's one that we begin to start.
We've never had
Yeah,
required
that
a
hasn't been a
city attorney to
standard.
be here for special use permits in the past.
The county does it, most municipalities and counties, other counties do it, and I know we haven't, but I know myself, I think Nick has also expressed in the past that it makes sense to do that, so.
I think there's a decent number of people here this evening for that item. So I would just say, if there is a contentious issue that we feel like we need a legal opinion before making a decision, we could always continue it later. But at least that way, everyone who's invested their time in coming here tonight could have a chance to speak on that item.
Yeah, I don't object to that. That sounds fine with me. I did forget that I had another commitment tonight, so I had to leave at 7:45. I just ask that people keep in mind that.
Yeah, Mr. Nay?
Thank you.
I was just gonna make a motion, I don't know if somebody else is here to make a motion.
Forrest, did you have something to say, or was your light on from earlier? Sorry.
I would like to add that as a part of the old business, staff would like to respond to a request from the board considering or concerning attendance.
Okay. Do you want to
Okay.
do that now, or?
That is up to the board, but under old business seems the most appropriate.
Okay, I agree with that. So we'll come to you when we get to old business. So we're still at adoption of the agenda. There's some discussion. There's a request to reorder things. There's a request to postpone something. Josh, are you ready to make a motion?
I was gonna make the motion that we, put 2 and 3 above 1, just because.
Okay,
Second?
So
okay.
our August school board member
Yep.
can go home for a change.
All right. So we have a motion to adopt the agenda with items 2 and 3 moved up to the top of the business discussion
I would
items.
second that.
Okay, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we'll reorder the business discussion items. Next up, we have approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion?
Second.
So moved.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
In a second
Whatever,
from
yeah.
Mr. Ackerman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next, we have public comment. This is public comment on any items not on the agenda this evening. So if you're here to speak to a specific petition, please wait until we have public comment on that item. Is there anyone here to speak generally to, with public comment on something not on the agenda this evening? Okay, doesn't look like it. So with that, we'll come back to old business. Mr. Edelton.
Thank you, Chair. At the direction or request of the plan board, staff has gone back and looked at the attendance record and want to report back to you for our findings on that. So the existing ordinance states that with 2 absences over a 6 meeting period means that there's an automatic removal of plan board members. So there are 2 members that fall under that, and it is the school board designee member, Tina Certain, and then also Jamie Bell, Commissioner Jamie Bell. So under the guidelines, under the ordinance for the attendance policy, both of those members are, the phrase is in the ordinance, automatically removed. So for the purposes of this meeting, staff is wanting to first, of course, state that, acknowledge that, and then going forward, certainly for the items that are on the meeting today, it's important for that to be recognized in terms of the votes. So, of course, for the school board member, it is a non-voting position, so the limitations or restrictions to that are they're small, they're limited. For Commissioner Bell, with the automatic removal, the voting on items that are at the board today, it is staff's recommendation that Commissioner Bell does not participate in those votes.
Okay, and that's up to us to decide, or you're telling us that that is city policy?
I am saying that the ordinance language states that there is an automatic removal, and that is the phrase.
Okay, Ms. Bell.
Yeah, the phrasing is any appointee to the board shall be automatically removed upon filing with the clerk of the commission an attendance record that indicates, and like he said, an attendance less than 66.66% for the 6 most recent board meetings. And I don't know if you're only granted 1 excused absence per calendar year, which one of mine was, but I had a baby and was in the hospital for 1, and then not allowed to drive for the 2nd, and exclusively breastfeeding the 3rd, and chose to not bring my newborn here. So while I understand the ordinance, I don't know if the chair or the board has the option to push back against it, or if that has to go to the city commission.
This has actually happened once before. It has to go to the city commission.
Okay, so then can we define upon filing with the clerk of the commission? Because that's the second half of the sentence.
So I want to make sure that we're looking at the most recent ordinances that govern the rules and the attendance. So
This was the one that Mr. Chan sent out on July 3rd. the
My
rules that,
understanding of the existing ordinance that governs the rules and procedures is ordinance 210356. And that is, that was passed and discussed in 2021 by the city commission. And it does talk about all advisory boards, but it also talks about boards that are quasi-judicial. The quasi-judicial boards have slightly different, the quasi-judicial and administrative boards have a slightly different criteria from the advisory boards. This board is quasi-judicial and administrative. They are final decisions that are made on this board. And from this ordinance, the 210356 ordinance, it is 2 of the 6 most recent board meetings constitute an automatic removal.
So can I ask a little bit of a clarifying question? There's no, because we are allowed an excused absence, is your understanding that this is 2 unexcused absences, that the excused absence would not count against you? Or does the excused absence count as well? Because that language does not differentiate.
Right. So for even under this language and where it does not differentiate, when we look at all of the absences, there are still 2 and more. So even
Okay.
for the excused absence, it is still more than 2 out of the last 6. Even if there is an excused absence for any one of those other absences, it still meets 2 or more in the 6-month period.
Okay, so staff's recommendation is that Ms. Bell continue to be seated but not vote on items this evening.
That would be my recommendation, yes.
Did you discuss this with the clerk or the city attorney or anyone else before the meeting?
Did you have any of those discussions? No.
Okay.
There have been discussions about the enforcement of the attendance policy for the advisory boards, but no discussion specifically about specific members or specific boards.
Okay. I think that's a big thing to start a meeting with. I would prefer, to sort of have a warning if someone, is coming up on that in the future. And I don't know, I'm not comfortable really with the way this is being brought up this evening. It wasn't even listed under old business, for example. I know we got the email. That's my personal stance. Dr. Murmer, did you have something?
Yes, 2 things, and please bear with me. I notice here under section 2-247, C2? Yeah, so C2, towards the end, it says board members will be allowed 2 excused absences per calendar year for a medical reason or professional or educational obligation.
That's for advisory.
That applies to other
Oh, you're
advisory
right. Okay,
boards.
no, I
We
missed
fall
that.
under number
Okay, yeah, that's
1.
just for advisory. I'm sorry about that. So this creates another conundrum again. I apologize, but I did forget that I had another commitment, so I have to leave at 7:45. So if
Try to be quiet.
you won't have a quorum without.
You won't have
Yeah.
a quorum, is what he's saying,
Yeah.
if Jamie can't vote.
Well, the issue is if she does vote, it risks invalidating anything we do.
Anyway.
Yeah, if she votes, because it's a quasi-judicial and has a higher standard.
And Madam
And while
Chair.
I'm not a city attorney, I
what
am an
it's
attorney.
worth, the reason largely the reason that we bring this back is that the last meeting, the plan board asked us to address the attendance issue.
Yeah.
And please bring it back.
We've got 5
Okay.
here right now, but we're trying to get rid of them.
Yeah.
We're not going to go through the items in time for either of the quasi-judicial items.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, concerned that the special use permit won't happen within that timeframe.
Yeah, I don't think it will.
And, you know, like,
Okay.
it's something where I would have been willing to cancel my commitment, like, had the city attorney, our representative for city attorney's office been here, but again, I think that there are issues with them not, so I just don't. I feel bad because I know a lot of people are here, because of the special use permit item. But again, I also want to make sure that the affected parties are protected, which is why I want the city attorney here, so I apologize to you all for the time issue. I think it just protects everybody involved if we have a representative here.
Okay, so do we need to take a motion with what the board is gonna do, or are you telling us that we just need to not have Ms. Bell vote? What, I guess I'm a little confused since we don't really have this
think
on
when-
the agenda, how we're supposed to handle it.
If
I
vote,
don't
we have a
see
quorum.
anything under the existing ordinance governing attendance that allows or would suggest that there should be some sort of a motion. The
Okay,
ordinance
it's
says
just,
it's automatic removal.
Yeah, because once
Okay.
you report the attendance to the clerk, they're automatically removed.
And the attendance was reported to the clerk, right?
Keeping in mind, if we're about to lose our quorum, if we.
Right, keep
we
discussing this.
Stop blabbing about something
Yeah.
that's automatic.
okay, Ms. Bell,
So then based on that ordinance, it should also be noted that I was technically removed from the board in March or April then, because I missed 3 meetings in a row when I had my baby. And so I wasn't on the board at the last meeting that I attended, and so anything I voted on, I don't know how tight our quorum was, not last month, but in May. I don't know how tight the quorum was, but it may have invalidated anything I voted on
It might.
in May, so.
well, was that when we
Sorry,
voted on
everyone.
the not?
Show you cute baby pictures if it helps. I'm sorry. I
Okay.
only found out about this 2 days
Okay.
ago that it was an issue.
So it sounds like we don't really have a choice tonight, is what it sounds like. I think it's very unfortunate that this was brought to us in the way that it was. But it sounds like the board doesn't have a say in the implementation. So I think we should probably try to move forward and hear what items we can before Dr. Murmur has to leave. I'm sorry. This is, not an ideal way to start a meeting. So I'm sorry that this is all coming up like this.
I have one more question, important here, because I do want to respect everybody's time here. It seems like we might have to discuss the Dunbar item or Dunbar special use permit at a future meeting. But when we are considering quasi judicial matters, we can only consider, please correct me if I'm wrong, we can only consider testimony given during that item, correct? Or would it be possible for us to allow people to comment now, have it entered into the record, and then consider it when we pick up the item again?
The cleanest way to do it is, yes, comments can be made now, but when there is that vote, in some form or another, we're gonna have to collect and present all that information, those comments. So it is the easiest and cleanest to do it within an item that is being heard and voted on at that moment in time. But that does not mean that there cannot be testimony presented and collected and recorded.
Okay.
I would just like
Mr.
to-
Ackerman, do you have?
I mean, the issue is, people are here, they want to say it, they want to listen to the presentation from the board, they want to listen from staff, and it's not fair to make them give us kind of out there in space comment about this without hearing what the details are. So that strikes me as a bad idea.
You can see that.
Yep. I
I mean, as it is, we take emails and faxes and texts and anything else, which people are more than welcome to do, and in fact have been doing. But it seems like when people want to talk, they should be allowed to talk to the board.
I agree.
Okay, I agree with that. Why don't we, move ahead into the discussion items and see how far we get? Okay. Can staff read the former number 2, now number 1, item into the record for us?
Yes, that's 2025-570, the Dunbar special use permit, or is that the one that you're referring to?
No, we're moving to the Terwilliger land use
Terwilliger?
change.
Okay, sorry about that. That's 2025-571, Terwilliger land use change LD 25-000071. This petition is a land use change request for parcel 06655-003-000 from education to urban mixed use.
Thank you, and good evening, Chair and Board. My name is Ari Urbanovich. For the record, I'm a planner with the Department of Sustainable Development, and the item before you is a land use change at the former Terwilliger Elementary School. The item is LD 25-000071. Here is a location map. The parcel ID is 06655-003-000. The parcel is just south of Newberry Road and to the east of the Oaks Mall. Parcel size is approximately 15 acres, and currently the established land use is education. The proposed land use is urban mixed use. Here's a surrounding map indicating what the land uses are for the surrounding parcels. You see to the west, there's the Oaks Mall with urban mixed use. To the south, there are some offices, and then off to the east are some single-family land uses. And just indicating the proposed land use, showing that the requested change is to establish urban mixed use at this parcel. So just looking a little deeper into the surrounding land uses and existing uses. To the north are some municipal properties with public facility land use designations. To the south are one-story offices with office designations. To the east are those single-family houses and a few office multi-story uses with designations of single-family and office. And to the west are what are called professional offices by the property appraiser with designated urban mixed-use land uses. So looking at the area and totaling up what the acreage is for the land uses that are in the vicinity, there is approximately 106 acres that are already designated urban mixed use when you include the subject parcel. When staff review future land use changes, we have specific criteria that we're required to review against. Staff have reviewed those criteria, which are shown here, and found that this request does meet the designated criteria established within the Land Development Code and Comprehensive Plan. Specifically, the future land use goals, policies, and objectives are met regarding diversity of choices in housing, retail, and workplaces, our incentive and requirement to establish mixed-use development in specific areas across the city and discourage sprawl and encourage compact development. Compatibility with the existing land uses in the area. There is an existing development pattern in this vicinity that represents basically a cluster of mixes of uses, and then impacts on affordable housing. While there is no specific affordable housing proposed at this site, making this change to urban mixed use would introduce residential uses at the parcel. So with that, staff recommendation is for approval of LD 25-000071. And thank you very much for your time, and I'm here if you have any questions, and here's just the indication that the site has been noticed.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff on this item? Mr. Nay?
I'm just wondering, you know, U8's across the street. Is there a reason why you picked U6 instead of U8?
Yeah, and we can definitely talk about that when we get to the rezoning, but just in a nutshell, this is a land use designation.
Yeah, land use, sorry.
To answer your question, it's essentially providing a step up between the single-family homes to the east and the U8 to the west. Mm-hmm. So we do have a requirement to protect low-intensity uses from any harmful impacts of higher-intensity uses. This is what was requested by the applicant. Staff found that it fits that criteria, which is outlined in the future land use element.
Any other questions for staff? Dr. Murmer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So you said we actually discuss the, if we were gonna go the way of recommending, rezoning to an urban transect, we would be discussing the specific urban transect during the zoning portion?
That's correct, yeah. This is for the land use designation.
Okay, so if we approve staff's recommendation for this land use designation, would that preclude U8? Going off memory, looking at the code, it would not. Correct?
This land use designation would not preclude U8 as a zoning designation.
Thank you.
Excuse me,
Okay.
is it possible to hear what the staff is saying up there? I don't know if your mics are not on.
Okay, usually, if everyone could just make sure your mics are on when you're talking. Usually if we start talking, he'll turn them on for us from the back.
They're on, we can hear you, but
Yeah.
Dr. Murray, I believe, your voice is very hard to understand on that mic.
Oh, I apologize. I'm also been having really bad allergies for the past couple weeks, so.
That's better as you lean forward.
Yeah, because I'm leaning forward. Thank you for letting me know.
Okay. Is there an applicant presentation on this item?
There is.
Okay.
You might prefer to wait until the rezoning presentation is concluded, but there is a presentation submitted by the applicant.
Okay, are we voting on the land use first and then going to the rezoning?
Yes.
Since you split up the presentations?
Right, that's right.
Okay. So if the applicant would like to give a presentation now, feel free to come give your land use presentation and then we'll open the land use for public comment.
So
You
the-
have a combined.
That's right, yeah. The applicant presentation is one combined presentation. Staff have split them up. The applicant has a combo land use rezoning presentation that they would like to give.
Okay, so would you like to give that now or would you like to waive your right to a presentation now? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll give them a moment. Oh, there it is. Okay. Good evening, Madam Chair, board members. I'm Margot Maurer, AICP with NV5, and tonight I'm here on behalf of the School Board of Alachua County. Thank you to staff for their expedient review of the land use. I have a short presentation to supplement what they've provided on land use and also to review the zoning, the rezoning that we've requested as a companion to the land use change. Okay. So tonight we're here to request a small-scale land use change on the subject property, which is a former Myra A. Terwilliger Elementary School site. We're requesting a land use change from education to urban mixed use. In the companion rezoning application, we're requesting rezoning from educational services to city's urban 6 or U6 transect zoning. The purpose of these request is to encourage adaptive reuse of the former elementary school site by expanding opportunities for future infill redevelopment, achieve the site's highest and best use as the site is now stands vacant. This will also serve to extend the city's transect zoning that's compatible with the surrounding mix of uses and development pattern. So the former school site is approximately 15 acres. It abuts Northwest 62nd Street, is approximately a quarter mile south of Newberry Road and half mile east of I-75. The surrounding context area includes a variety of destinations and mix of uses ranging from the Oaks Mall to UF Health at the Oaks, HCA's North Florida Hospital, Coffrin Park. There's a Hobby Lobby as well as other variety of medical offices and business offices, and residential uses. So here we have the former site of the elementary school, which closed in 2021. A new school was constructed on Parker Road. Since the school is closed, all the on-site school facilities have been effectively removed. This was completed during the demolition process, and these photos show the site today, which is, as you can see, beginning to become grown over. It does not contain any structures whatsoever. So following the city's requirements for neighborhood workshop, we provided public notice, and we conducted a workshop following mail out, including 86 notices. We posted the site with the 2 signs. Of that, we had 17 attendees at the neighborhood workshop. So we followed the process, beginning with the first step meeting on April 21st, 2025, neighborhood workshop on May 19th. We submitted the applications in early June, and now that staff has reviewed, they've concluded the applications are sufficient for public hearing. And that brings me to present these applications tonight. So the site currently has education land use, education zoning. We're requesting urban mixed use, future land use designation, and U6 transect zoning on the site. The U6 transect zoning provides, as you can see in this map here, similar to what staff presented earlier, a step down in density and intensity from U8 to U6 to single-family residential to the east. We've identified policies within the City of Gainesville's comprehensive plan, goals, objectives, and policies that these applications are consistent with, as well as this state urban sprawl analysis. And staff has similarly identified policies with which these applications are consistent. The U6 development standards also help ensure compatibility with abutting and surrounding uses. Since the site abuts conservation area, public service, future land use, and single-family residential, a 9-foot landscape buffer will be required on those abutting areas. Pardon me, I'm also getting over allergies, but there is a building height requirement of 3 stories maximum within the single-family, 100 feet of single-family residential areas. Otherwise, on the side, the U6 zoning allows 4 stories by right and 5 stories are eligible under bonus. Staff has found that this would be a compatible, that the zoning would provide compatibility with the surrounding uses. So on behalf of the applicant, we respectfully request that the plan board accept staff's recommendation and recommend the small-scale land use amendment and its companion rezoning, which you will hear shortly, for approval. And this is based on the city's competent substantial evidence, my expert planning testimony presented tonight, and also in the supporting application materials. And I'll be available to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Murmur?
Thank you, ma'am. Are you aware of whether the applicant would be averse to U8 zoning? I'm still a little confused about the step-down process because I don't recall us typically doing that. Usually if we're next to U8, we just go U8. Again,
Well,
that's
there's
how
single family on the backside though. Did you see that? You don't normally take a single family house to U8. That's what she's saying.
Okay.
Not across the street, but actually literally touching in the back. They're single family. Did you see that on the map?
Well, I did, but then
That's what she's talking about.
Is that when does that start? At what transect is that? I get
We
the
could
logic
choose
there.
whatever we decide to have as I mean, we could say we want to have U4 next to single family, or U5 next to single family, or U6 next to single family. We typically have not put U8 next to single family.
But even if they do U8, they're gonna have to have a step down within 100 feet of the single family house. There's only that one single family house that's right there on the corner.
That's true, but that's why they're saying it. It's the adjacency on the east side, not the west side.
Within 100 feet.
So yeah, I thank you, Chair. You answered my question. I was trying to. You're saying that typically we don't do U8 abutting single family.
That has not been standard procedure in my time on the board since we created transect zones.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. We'll open it up to public comment then. Are there any members of the public here to talk about this item this evening? If so, please go ahead and step up to the microphone. Please introduce yourself, state your name for the record, and then you'll have 3 minutes to comment.
Thank you. My name's Erin Merton. I'm one of the neighbors that butts up to this property, so there's more than one of us, and one of our other neighborhood residences here. My concern is some of the density issues. I am pro-density. Obviously, Gainesville has short housing. We are short of housing right now, so we need places to put people. But I don't know if any of you guys drive down Newberry Road. Putting this kind of density on that road, I don't think will go well. I'm not a transportation expert by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a physical therapist, but I drive down that road all the time. Today, when I was driving home, there was an ambulance trying to get west on Newberry Road. Cars had to pull up on the sidewalk so this ambulance could get through. I imagine that would only get worse if we put that kind of density in this space. I ride public transportation through this area. I get off on the Terwilliger Elementary School stop all the time. The bus is full. So if we're planning on having alternative modes of transportation, I think we need to consider that we're going to have to up our game as far as alternative modes of transportation. If we're trying to increase density and not have parking issues in that area, things to consider is the next closest grocery store is about 1.5 miles away without sidewalks leading to it. So people being able to get to the grocery store safely, probably not the best idea. I'm a little confused as to why we're going with the U6. You seem to think U8 is great, but U6 on a neighborhood I think is a bad idea, especially considering that at the Oaks Mall, which is U8 apparently, they're only building 3 high. If you give permission to go 5 high right next to a residential neighborhood, I think that that's a bad idea. I'm also slightly concerned that some of my neighbors are here today, and I asked them if any of them received a notification that this was happening. None of them received notification. I'm the only one that got notification. I don't know. Did you receive notification? I did. Okay, maybe it's because we are the 2 properties that abut to this, we got notification, but I don't believe anybody else did. And we were told at the neighborhood meeting that we would get notification. So I'm not sure what that was just supposed to be the poster on the side of the road that probably none of us drive down. But we were informed that we would know about this meeting, and it doesn't sound like we were. So I'm slightly concerned about that. I don't know what the policy is for that because I've never done this before. Cluster of mixed uses, yes, there are definitely lots of mixed uses in this neighborhood, but the vast majority of them are to the west. There is a substantial neighborhood, even though only 2 of us about the property, there is a substantial neighborhood on the east side of this. So I hope that you will consider that in this decision making. 5 stories high, even though you have to have a buffer zone, is still quite high. They will be looking into our properties from that height probably. And the trees that are currently there are a lot of them, but I hope that you will consider that those trees are falling by the month. Those are laurel oak trees. They're rotting out from the center. They're 60 plus years old. So please, if this is proceeded with, consider that we need some other sort of blockage there because those will not stay standing. We cannot use that. We cannot rely on that as providing us some protection from a U6.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this item? Come on up.
Could you use
State
the
your name for the
timer?
record, please. Yeah, can we get him to?
Okay, my name's Tim Blakemore. I'm also a resident of Durant Estates. I first just want to state I agree with everything that was just stated. You can't really tell on that picture, but it's not just the 2 houses that back up to it. But as I sit in my front yard and I look out, if there's apartments there and if there's lights, it's going to be light pollution in the neighborhood. It's an old neighborhood, very quaint. It's going to change the whole characteristic of the neighborhood. Additionally, a little in their speech, they said the highest and best use of it. When you say mixed use, I'm presuming that means you want to have businesses there. If you go through the stores that are right beside it, you will always find a lot of vacants. The mall apparently is not doing too well because many parts of it are being sold off to Shands. I think the office spaces that you also see that are very close to it, there's a lot of vacancies in that. You also have the apartments that are being built right behind the mall. Those are not even complete yet. So you have that volume that hasn't even been brought in yet. And then you're saying, well, let's put some more apartments there as well. Additionally, because the neighborhood's right to it, I don't know if you can tell, but you see there's a little black line between the yellow and the blue up there. That's a path that has been there forever, that the students used to walk behind our neighborhood to the school. That path still exists. So if you put apartments there, that is also potentially bringing an easy access to the neighborhood as well. So I think for what was just said by Aaron, considering is it the best use? Does that area need more businesses? Is that the right means? I know you may or may not think, but one thing I've heard the neighbors say is that, yeah, you say there's Coffin Park nearby, but there are no parks really nearby that area. 62nd is full of thousands of residents. And so it would be an awesome idea to make that a park versus bringing more people in to make the area more congested and busy and in general. So I just want to share those thoughts.
Thank you. Any other members of the public? Yep, come on up. State your name for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Jared Faria. I'm a resident of Durant Estates as well. My wife Katie is here as well. And I just wanted to, I'm not going to bear, it doesn't bear repeating what Aaron and Tim both said, but I just wanted to echo and agree. And also just point out the traffic. My concern is also the density and the traffic on that, what is that, Northwest 62nd Boulevard. I think the city's done a great job by extending that road to Butler, the Butler area. But already having traveled that since that was extended, it's busy. And so again, with the buildings that are being built near the mall, those not having residents yet, it's just going to continue to up the density. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to comment on this item?
I'm Brenda Pickens. I've been a resident of Durant Estates since 1969. And early on, when I moved there were nothing but pine trees between me and even all the mall area. And for the mall to be constructed, there was a lot of to-do about that, and there was a deed restriction put in that there would not be any further commercial anything beyond where the Oaks Mall is. And the step down was for offices, which are there on that road there. It just makes no sense to me to be adding any more cars, any more housing on that road because of the traffic and everything else. So all the deed restrictions, this is where we go. First you take away everything for the mall, and then you come further here, and then you're coming further here to do more. Terwilliger was a great school. Neighbors, people moved into the neighborhood so their kids could walk to that school. And I can understand the school board maybe not wanting to spend the big bucks they got for this land to do it. I mean, everybody likes a good return on their investment and do other things with it. I can understand that. But it's totally changing the whole complexion of the area. And I totally disagree with doing this. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else have public comment on this item?
Yes, my name is Nat Ford. I'm directly adjacent to the property at Terwilliger. I agree with everything that the other residents have voiced here. One of the issues that we have in our community, which is Morningstar community, is that there are people who come off the Newberry Road trying to bypass a lot of the traffic there that's congested by the Oaks Mall. And so I think that this would also just add to that problem. I know you have a buffer around it, but if you look at the perspective of it, a basketball goal is 10 feet high. And you're talking about a buffer of 9 feet. So that doesn't make much sense to me, but you guys are the experts. The other thing that is a concern is about the foot traffic, as they mentioned a little earlier. We already have some issues with the vagrants that are, lying out on the street and everything else. but I think that this would just add to the problem. So I wish that you would seriously take all of that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, last call. We're going to close public comment on the land use item. Okay, bringing it back to the board, we have a couple lights. Mr. Ackerman.
I just want to point out, this petition tonight is pure zoning and land use. There is no proposed development at this moment. When that happens, you'll have another shot at that, and they'll do a traffic study. The city has pretty rigorous light pollution requirements. We have pretty rigorous noise pollution. So all of that will come during the development phase of this. This is merely changing it from educational to some land use that is able to be used. Second of all, I would add is that this is a very urban neighborhood, as you know, and it's getting more and more urban. The Oaks Mall is in transition, and most of it got rezoned quite some time ago in anticipation of it disappearing altogether. And so I don't think that there's a way that we're going to be able to, what we're trying to do with density is to begin to remove some of the requirement to drive everywhere, because we're all clogged behind cars when you do that. So I don't strenuously object to this being U8, but Ms. Certain can speak to whether U6 is what they really want.
Okay, we're going to go to Dr. Murmer first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The penultimate speaker mentioned deed restrictions. Do we know what that was about? Could this property be governed by a covenant, or?
I mean, what I would say is if there's a deed restriction on the property, that would carry regardless of the zoning, and that's not our purview, it's a private thing. So if it's on the property, whoever buys it is gonna have to deal with that. If it isn't on the property, it may have just been talked about at that time. That's not really our purview to enforce that. That's not a city thing.
That makes sense, thank you.
So.
It's enforced by private
Yeah.
lawsuit.
Thank you.
Ms. Bell?
Even if I can't vote, I'm assuming I'm allowed to comment. I empathize with a lot of the concerns that can y'all hear me okay too? I just want to make sure. I empathize with a lot of the concerns, and it really did get me thinking about at least the comparative nature of U6 versus U4 and the difference in densities. And so the U6 density by right is 50, right? But the U4 is only 20. So it'd be a difference of 375 new units versus up to 150. I know we're talking technically on the land use one, but since the presentation was on the zoning too, that's what I'm sensing is more of a concern, because I don't have a problem with mixed use. It's the transect zoning that seems to be the issue, so I'm ahead of myself. But when we get to the zoning question, perhaps we can discuss whether we can recommend going to something like U4. I would lean to the experience of the board members who've been on here longer, but it seems like it would meet all of the comprehensive goals that are listed. And in the applicant's report, when they do talk about objective 4.2, the city shall implement regulations that will protect low intensity uses from the negative impacts of high intensity uses and provide for the healthy coexistence. U4 does feel like a better fit in meeting that objective rather than U6, primarily based on the density and the height allowances in the code of ordinances, whereas U4's residential density by right is 20 and the height is 3 stories. So throwing it out there for future discussion, but before Dr. Murmer has to leave. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Edelton, did you have something?
Yes, thank you, Chair. For the land use item, I do think to Member Bell's point that the density of all this is very appropriate and important to talk about under the land use conversation. And then how that relates to the zoning designations that may come up, whether U4, U6, U8, those of course are intrinsically related. So with the board's permission, or if that is what you all would like, I'm sure that Mr. Rabinovich can talk about the differences between what land use designations may or may not be appropriate in this case, but then also speak to how that relates to U4, U6, or U8. Not to put him on the spot, but also to actually put him on the spot.
Also, Ari, if you have a brief answer to that, that would be great. While we're waiting for you to come up, I do have a question for Ms. Certain. I imagine there's some time sensitivity to this potentially. In my experience, when the board or the commission decides to change land uses from what the applicant has asked for, particularly to a higher intensity, the applicant then has to go back and have another neighborhood workshop, and it slows the whole thing down. So is there time sensitivity to this being approved, or can you potentially spare an extra couple months if the recommendation is changed?
We are wanting to get this done just because of some negative legislation we're trying to get ahead of, so that we don't potentially lose properties to charters or things of that nature.
Okay.
So we're trying to get this rezoned so that we can sell it and reinvest those dollars back into our existing facilities.
Okay, that was my suspicion.
Yeah, the Schools of Hope,
And
yeah.
Mr. Edelton, would you agree that if the commission decides to go with a higher zoning, I've experienced this before, we've had to go backwards in the process and it slows the whole thing down?
A higher zoning of that was not included in the neighborhood workshops and the notification, then that would be staff's recommendation, is that the applicant goes back and makes sure that they do that notification with the zoning designation that is presented.
When you say higher, does that mean go to U8 or go to U4?
Going to U8, because there seem to be more members of the board that can vote that are interested in U8. So U4 would probably be okay. But
Yeah, just
I just
to
want
clarify.
people to be aware that it may affect, the applicant may have a position on changing the recommendation to something that would cause more time in the process.
I think that so it would not necessarily require going all the way back to starting at the neighborhood workshop, because the notification for this meeting and this discussion did happen.
I'm sorry, did you just say, so if for some reason the applicant was willing to go down, let's say from U6 to U4, and the commission agreed that that would not require an additional workshop, that would not slow the process down? Like, can you go lower intensity without going through the process again?
Comfortably, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, but going up requires more process. And I've seen it happen, I've had to do it. So I can tell you from experience, it adds time. So just keep that in mind, and the applicant may decide not to support a change that we would make up here for that reason. Okay, Ari.
Yeah, and to answer the question about, or the line of thinking about U4 versus U6, so the review of the application was for U6, and so all of the criteria that we review against about compact development and making the best and most efficient use of land, preventing sprawl, were with the assessment of U6 as the transect requested. So staff recommendation of approval for U6 is based on an attempt to try and make the best use of this land and develop in a compact way, utilize our infrastructure as efficiently as we can, and just try and encourage a cluster of uses in an area that is most fitting. So U4, if that was what the board would recommend, that would be the board's recommendation. My review was for U6 as the requested zoning district, so I couldn't say whether or not that would be our recommendation right now. The recommendation is for approval of U6.
Thank you. Bringing it back to the board for more discussion or a motion, it can just be the land use at this time.
Yeah, I think we're just.
Move to approve staff's recommendation on the land use amendment.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great, so the land use passes.
Does it pass if we don't have a quorum?
We do,
Yeah.
he's still here.
Oh,
So we have 15 minutes to do the zoning.
Got it.
Yes. Okay, can we read the zoning item into the record, please?
Yes, 2025-572 Terwilliger rezoning, LD 25-000070. This petition is a request to rezone parcel 06655-003-000 from education to urban zone 6.
Thank you. My name is Ari Rabinovich. I'm a planner with the Department of Sustainable Development. The item for you is a rezoning for the former Terwilliger Elementary School. The item number is LD 25-000070. And again, just showing you the parcel location, Newberry Road off to the north, Oaks Mall to the west. The parcel size is approximately 15 acres. Current zoning designation is education, and the proposed designation is U6. Here you can see what that looks like. Off to the west is the Oaks Mall, primarily with zoning designations of U8, the property with ED. You got some offices to the south and residential single family now off to the east, and a planned development as well. There is a piece of conservation land immediately abutting the parcel to the north, and some public services as well. And here is the requested zoning designation with U6 at the subject parcel. And looking at the surrounding existing uses and zoning designations to the north are municipal uses with public services designations. To the south are office 1-story with designations of office. To the east are single-family residences and office multi-story with designations of single-family as well as planned development. And to the west are what are called professional offices with the Oaks Mall and designated as U8. So you can see here the existing zoning designations of U8 constitutes approximately 106 acres total if we were to include the subject parcel as U6. So you'll have transect designations for about 106 acres in this area. And just a little bit of detail about what the transect zones are and what U6 would mean for this area. So essentially U6 to U9 are higher density uses that are mixed with accommodations for retail, offices, and apartments. You're looking at a tight network of streets with wider sidewalks, continuous street tree planting, and buildings that are set close to the sidewalks. You typically see buildings that occupy the entire frontage and leaving a rear yard as the sole yard. There is a continuous facade along the public street, and residential buildings in this form are typically attached dwellings. So looking at generally the intent of the Transect Code, transects are intended to establish development standards that encourage a more efficient and sustainable form, allowing a range of housing, employment, shopping, and recreation choices in a compact and pedestrian-friendly environment. So just a quick look at what the differences are between the requested U6 and the adjacent U8. So in U6, you see there is no minimum building height. There is a maximum units per acre of 50. There are no side interior setbacks, and the maximum stories by right is 4. U8, you have a minimum building height of 18 feet, maximum of 60 units per acre, no side interior setbacks, and a maximum by right stories of 5. So the staff report before you reviews against specific rezoning criteria that we are obligated to review against under the Land Development Code, and staff have found that this request meet those criteria, specifically compatibility with the permitted uses and allowed intensity and density within the surrounding existing development. So there is an existing development pattern in this area that is essentially a clustered mix of uses and densities and intensities. The proposed zoning districts of the property in relation to surrounding properties and other similar properties. So the surrounding properties are both single family all the way up to U8. So this request for U6 is a gradual transition intended to protect lower intensity uses from any negative impacts of higher intensity uses while creating a sort of gradual transition in intensity. Whether there have been any substantial changes to the character or development of the areas in or near an area under consideration for rezoning. So we've seen a continuous diversification of uses in this area, as well as some multifamily residential development that is in progress adjacent to the Oaks Mall. And then the goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan that are met by this requested change. We are directed to establish a diversity of housing, office, retail, and workplace choices, as well as to establish areas of the city where we have a mix of uses that are permitted and encouraged, as well as to discourage sprawl and encourage a more compact development form. So with that, I do thank you for your time. Staff recommendation is for approval of LD 25-000070. I'm here if you have any questions. And here is the public notice once more.
Thank you. Any questions for staff on the zoning application? Okay, does the applicant want to present again? Or add anything?
Good evening, Margot Maurer, AICP with NB5. I'd like to have the presentation provided during the land use, small-scale land use amendment item entered into the record here for the rezoning. And I'm available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? I'm not seeing any. Okay. Dr. Murmur.
So I know before I asked the applicant's representative if they had any thoughts on U8, or I guess I can ask another representative of the applicant who's sitting with us up here, the reverse. Has there been any discussion of U4 or lower intensity?
I'm going to ask Ms. Margot and Ms. Wynn if they come back, but I think we're wanting to stay with the U6 all the way just to kind of keep the process moving on.
Thank you.
Okay. So with that, we'll go to public comment. If you would like to speak to the zoning item on this property, come forward to the mic, state your name again for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes. Would anyone like to speak to this item? Come on up.
I just wanted, Tim Blakemore, I just wanted to restate that I would agree to the things that were said before, same for this rezoning as well. I heard earlier, I'm just a little confused. It's like one of the purposes is trying to have everyone live in a really close environment so they don't have to go elsewhere. But in this environment, there is no grocery store. So no matter what you're thinking you're doing by bringing all those people there, they're all still going to have to drive 2 to 5 miles away to the grocery store. So it's not accomplishing that. And I think that would be the main point that I wanted to say. And also, not that it's related, but the fact that you're trying to rush it through so that you can potentially lose the land to other schools, whatever she said sounded very questionable to me of motive. So I just kind of we don't rush things because we're trying to get ahead of laws or rules. We do what's right for the community, and I think that's what you guys should be focusing on. Thank you.
Yeah, you can respond. Mr.
So, excuse my voice, I'm having some challenges. The desire of me as one board member, and I think of our entire board, is the laws of the state are changing, where public school assets are being, it's moving in a direction where charter schools, which could be corporately run, could come and claim assets that were purchased with public dollars. And so, and it may not be good, right?
Please
So
don't comment from the audience. You need to
I'm
be at the
asked,
microphone.
we're not rushing anything. That the property was there, and we, with the way enrollment is going and things of that nature, that school was demolished because the need is just not there. And the district the board has really decided that we would dispose of it because it's not, having a school right there is not conducive at this point. But we're not by any means rushing this. I mean, you saw the timeline that's there, so.
Okay, thank you. Please state your name again for the record.
Sorry, my name's Erin Merton. I'm a member of Durant Estates, or a resident of Durant Estates. Again, fully support the use of the land for housing, especially we need it in Gainesville. Again, controlling the density, while I do believe in density, I live in this neighborhood, I move through this neighborhood, I walk through this neighborhood. I about guarantee none of you guys have walked down Newberry Road probably in this region on a regular basis. There was a little conversation going through our neighborhood about the hope was with the density that there would be less traffic because it would be pedestrian friendly. As I've already pointed out, it's not pedestrian friendly. I am a pedestrian. It is not friendly. My other concern with that, or something that should be considered, the Oaks Mall across the street, it's got lots of parking right now, and people might be attracted to this property and park across the street. We're not losing cars if that is what happens. We still have cars in that region if they are parking across the street, and then you're going to have people dashing across 62nd Street, which is a little bit of a wild road in case you haven't walked down that street before. So I would highly consider that possibility. Do not expect, because you don't put in parking, that people won't find other places to park to still keep their cars.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Jared Feria. I'm a resident of Durant Estates as well. You had mentioned earlier about the movement of the mall area changing to becoming even more urban. I can't remember who mentioned that, but you mentioned that. I'm just wondering, to me, it makes more sense to keep the west side of 62nd U4 and continue with the U8 moving toward the highway. I mean, no one's going to argue that that's not a congested area already, but I just wanted to throw that out. I don't know if that's part of consideration in terms of long-term planning, because you said that things were changing in the mall area, so I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you. The city and county limits change somewhere out there close to 75. I'm not sure exactly where, but some of the properties on the other side of 75 are county. And so we are concerned with city land use and zoning, and this would be kind of considered an infill property from that sense. But obviously all of the county and all of the city are developing, and so we have to kind of see those trends. Anyone else that wants to speak to this item? Did you want to speak to the Terwilliger item? Okay. The other thing, I would just echo what Mr. Ackerman said earlier. This is not a development plan. It's just a zoning. So should someone come with a plan to develop the property, at that time you all would be noticed again. They would have to present what they're planning to do. It could be a grocery store. A grocery store would be allowed in U6. And Aldi only takes a couple acres. So it could be commercial, it could be residential. It's unknown at this time what will happen on the property, but you all will have a chance to be involved in that process in a similar way. Come on up, ma'am.
Well, yeah, probably then, since your words, I probably don't have to say anything more, but I just want to emphasize again that those of us that lived in that area, when Oaks Mall wanted to build Oaks Mall, all of this was discussed over and over again with the threat that once the Oaks Mall came in, it was going to come further west toward us. And we were promised that nothing more than, professional offices and Terwilliger School would be on that road. Nothing else would be zoned to allow any commercial or any businesses or multi-use buildings.
Thank you.
Just remember that.
Mr. Ackerman?
I was just going to point out, the Oaks Mall's been there for 50 some odd years. We can't pour amber over top of the city of Gainesville and freeze it into the place.
I can't hear you.
Honestly,
I'm yelling. I just said the Oaks Mall is more than 50 years old.
Yeah.
The city of Gainesville has changed a great deal. We don't get to put amber over the city and freeze it into the space it was 50 years ago. Every other thing has grown, and that area there is not going to be the way it was 50 years ago when they built the Oaks Mall.
That's your opinion.
Well, that's fine, but I think you're losing.
Thank you. Ma'am, come on up. Please state your name for the record.
I'm Angie Blakemore. I'm also a resident of this neighborhood, and it disturbs me that you guys sit up there and you say, well, just so you know, you're going to have another chance to try to stop this. That's why we're here today. We're here today to give you our opinion. This is not what we want. This is not something that's going to be just this little tiny thing that's not really going to affect our neighborhood. It is going to affect it, okay? We have so many different types of wildlife that come through this neighborhood. We have coyotes, we have foxes, we have owls, we have deer, okay? Do you think that stuff is still gonna be there when you put frickin' 4 stories of apartments and big bright lights at night? It's gonna change the entire thing. And I know you're saying, oh, it's gonna have a 100-foot barrier in this little corner. Well, my lot is 162 by 162. 100 foot of a little barrier is nothing. It's not gonna provide any kind of a separation between these tall stories of apartments and our neighborhood. It has a very different feel. I'm sure probably all of you drive a car to work, but you're trying to push everybody into having these high density things where you think no one's gonna drive a car and they're gonna walk everywhere. Y'all don't walk everywhere. I don't walk everywhere. I never intend to walk everywhere. I do occasionally walk to work, but I drive my car most places because that's the way the Gainesville city is. This isn't downtown Orlando. It's not downtown Atlanta. It's a spread out place. It's not gonna prevent urban sprawl. Like, you're still building stuff out towards Jonesville. There's still things being built in Newberry. It's sprawling, it's growing. We're asking you to please not put a 4-story monstrosity next to where we live. We know things change, but please consider that you have an effect right now. You can decide not to approve the U6. You have a choice in that. We're asking you to stop it here and not make us have to come to another thing. Well, you'll have another chance. I feel like that's a false promise. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment on this item? Okay, seeing that, we'll bring it back to the board for discussion or a motion. Ms. Bell.
I would just like to reiterate that I'd like to hear from staff or the more experienced board members about the pros and cons of U4 versus U6. I mean, I heard Mr. Rabinovich point out that his report was only evaluating U6. I hear it. I know you didn't evaluate for U4 or U8. I hear Ms. Sturton's comment that they would rather keep it as is to avoid any delays in the process, but it sounds like to go down would not potentially delay the process. And based on the passionate testimony from the folks who live in the area, I mean, I feel like, based on my interpretation of how I'm reading our ordinances, that U4 could be a compromise between what the residents in the area are asking for and what we are seeing as the future tone aside. So I would be interested in hearing staff's interpretation of a potential U4 because that would be less than half of the potential density allowed compared to U6, as well as the lower height. Because you'd be going from, again, 50 per acre down to 20 per acre and going from 4 or 5 in the bonus down to 3. So it feels like that would be a compromise and a subtler transition from the residential to the hyper-urban area. So
Just so you know, we're about to lose our vote. Like, we're not going to be able to vote.
I don't think we should rush because we won't have a quorum.
Okay. Can you give us like 2 minutes just for a quick response, and then you can go ahead and make a motion? Can you give us 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Can you give us a quick response so that we can make a motion?
Yeah. Again, so the main consideration when we do have several considerations and criteria that we're required to assess against that are outlined in the Land Development Code about compact development, preventing sprawl, and ensuring that the density and intensity at the subject parcel fit the area. And while there are some residential impacts in this area, we have to consider the broader cluster of uses in this spot. And one other thing to consider here is the land use designation that we've just established, which is urban mixed use, is one that is compatible with U6 through 8. U4 is not one of the listed compatibilities between that land use and that zoning designation, so we would have to establish another land use designation as well.
Okay, thank you. Josh, do you have something quick, or were you
I was
gonna
going
make
to do a motion.
Okay, Bob, is it okay if he makes a motion, or do you want to say something first?
Nope, I was going to make a motion.
Okay, you're up, Josh.
Well, I really appreciate the expertise coming from staff, and while I would like to have like higher intensity zoning here and for the school, because I'm probably the only person here that has 3 kids currently in public school. I would like them to get the most value out of this land as possible to help support our public education. I recommend that we approve LD 25-000070 as staff presented. Thank you.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it was approved.
So,
Thank
I'm-
you.
I'm sorry, so can I just have 1 minute to speak to the people who are here for the Dunbar
Sure.
item? Again, I apologize. I know you guys have waited a long time, and I tried to be very transparent at the beginning that I had to leave 3 minutes ago. Please know I'm very sorry that you had to spend your time here. I would have, again, canceled my commitment had the city attorney or a representative of the city attorney been here. And the reason is because I really do believe that affected parties deserve a fair hearing. I have a lot of questions about the special use permit application, given some of the stuff that I've read. I feel like only comfortable if an attorney answers those questions. So I want everybody involved, including affected parties, the neighbors of Dunbar, to have a fair hearing. So I would have canceled my commitment, had a representative from the city attorney's office been here, but since they're not, I don't feel like I can even give a, informed vote. Yes.
Yes, come up to the microphone, please. Come up to the microphone, just so you're on the record.
Are we here tonight for the Dunbar meeting?
So that's what's being discussed right now. We have a member who has to leave, and he is what is keeping a quorum on our voting tonight. And so we'll have to hear from staff what our options are, but I don't know if we can hear testimony without a quorum or if we need to just end the meeting.
I personally would love it if we were able to compile testimony and be able to consider that testimony when we hear this again, because these people waited. Very
Of course you all
patiently.
made me chair today with all this weird stuff.
Sorry, it's a quasi judicial item, so it's there's a lot of rules about what we can and cannot consider and when we can consider things and when we can't consider things. And one of the things is affected party testimony can only be considered in our decisions and votes during an item or be entered into the record. So I just want to make sure that anything that is said tonight while I'm gone can be heard and I can consider it and make an informed vote when we hear this item again.
So we're not addressing the Dunbar?
So,
Is
Mr.
that
Edelton,
not-
can you give us some direction? We're gonna point to staff for telling us where we go from here,
I
because
just
we're
don't
in a
want you to
weird
waste
place this meeting, and I apologize to everyone. I had no idea we were gonna have a member quorum issue
The
ahead of
bottom
time.
line is we don't have a quorum in about 1 minute. And so
So-
we won't be able to vote.
Can I speak, please?
Mr. Edelton, maybe we can get staff to explain the situation first, for all of us to just be clear.
From staff perspective, I do not see any reason that testimony and public feedback cannot be heard by this body tonight. But without a quorum voting on that testimony, in my opinion and my advice, that cannot happen. But it is still a public meeting, it is still publicly noticed, and people can give their feedback on it. It is being recorded and it will be a part of the minutes.
So can I ask a question? Do we need to, I imagine we need to read it officially into the record. We should have staff's presentation and then take public comment. We will not have a quorum to even vote to continue the item. So that leaves it just open until we come back?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, so I'm comfortable doing that if everyone else is comfortable doing that. And maybe we can just send the other members an email and suggest that they review this testimony ahead of the next meeting.
And we can enter into the record
Okay,
at the next meeting.
so for those of you
And
in
that
the
will be a
audience,
part of
we're
the
trying to figure out a way
minutes
how
that
to
we
move
keep,
this
yes.
forward on the Dunbar without having a quorum to actually vote on it tonight.
The Terwilliger
So
people-
bear with us.
The applicant,
Know that they can go to the commission to still.
can I just ask a question, please?
Could I make? a
Yes,
motion?
come up to the mic, please.
My name is Shelton Seraphin. I'm with the Dunbar team. I just have a question for Mr. Bobby. You said you were going to leave at 7:45?
Yeah, I'm late.
It's 7:53.
Yeah, I'm
You were
late.
able to vote on the last one, right? But not able to vote on the other one, but you're still here.
And I don't want to be, I just want to make sure that since it's quasi-judicial, I want to make sure that everything can be
Okay.
entered into the record.
I
That's-
think we're gonna be okay to open that item, so if you need to go, Dr. Murmer, and for those of you for the previous item, we are done voting on that, but it will go to the city commission. I'm not sure what the date of that meeting will be, but those of you who got notices for this meeting, if you live within 400 feet of the property, which probably not all of you do, especially if there's large lots, those of you who do get notices, let your neighbors know, and it usually takes a couple months, honestly, to get to the city commission, but they are the final decision maker. Okay,
Madam Chair,
yes.
could I
Mr.
make a
Appleton.
motion, please?
Yes,
Since we still got a quorum, I would move that we continue this item until next month.
Second.
okay. So if we can continue it and still hear testimony, is that are you
That is
okay
my
with that?
understanding, yes.
Okay, so we are going to officially continue the item so that we'll take a vote next month, but we would like you all to stay and have your voice heard this evening. We're just trying to sort it out officially on the agenda. I apologize, I've been on this board for more than 10 years and I've never had a meeting this dysfunctional
That's
with board
insane.
members. I've never encountered this, and I'm telling you, I've been on this board more than 12 years. So I apologize to all of you that we just have not experienced this before. Okay, so we are going to take a vote to officially continue this item for a vote, but we will hear testimony this evening. We have a motion and a second, I believe. All of those in favor of continuing this item?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great, thank you. Yes, you can come up to the mic, but we really want to get going on the full presentation, so.
Okay. I am a POTUS. I just want to explain about like the area code, zip code 32601 and zip code 32608. So like what
Okay,
construction
is that
really,
related to the Dunbar?
what the construction is really going on downtown is the Global Kingdom infrastructure, and that's 32608. That's the Las Vegas installation. I'm just letting you all know what's going on. And you already paid 14 trillion R positive for it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bell, you just wanted to address that group. Your light was on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to let them know that the commission is the next stop and they can still comment.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are going to move to what was previously the first item on the agenda. Now it's third. Staff, can you please read that? We've already voted on it, but open that item, give us your presentation so that we can take some public comment this evening.
Sure. With this presentation, we'd have to come back next month and present again, the same presentation?
So,
Since you're the petitioner, you probably.
yes, you should come back next month. We will take comments this evening. But yes, if you're the petitioner, you should plan to come back next month as well. We will not be able to make a decision tonight.
And we apologize.
We will take comments, it's recorded, it will become part of the record and what we base the decision on. Okay, so what staff member is presenting this item? Okay, Mr. Chan.
Would you like me to read or? I already read it.
Sorry, I apologize.
think so. Just to give everyone a fair chance to listen. Good evening, City Plan Board. My name is Nathaniel Chan. I'm a planner for the City of Gainesville, Department of Sustainable Development. This is item LD 25-000039, special use permit. I'd like to give a brief overview of this item, just for the record, as it pertains to the discussion. So the Dunbar Hotel is located at 732 Northwest 4th Street. It's approximately 0.14 acres in size and has U4 zoning. And mixed-use office/residential land use. It is currently a restaurant, as approved by the Plan Board from PB-21-00088, and that was approved back in 2021 with some conditions. So it is under new ownership, and that initial approval included some conditions that the petitioner would like to address and change as part of their restaurant concept. So the proposal today is, well, for your consideration, is to remove the seating limitation, is to revise the hours of operation and provide additional parking agreements, add additional bike parking, and limit deliveries to be occurring off-site outside of peak hours. So a little bit of background on the Dunbar. It is located on Northwest 4th Street, right next to Gainesville Police Department. It is located within the Pleasant Street Historic District as well, and it's essentially right off of Northwest 8th Avenue. Here are some of the surrounding businesses, and I've highlighted the Dunbar there and some of the other things. So here's the existing land use and zoning. So as you can see, mixed-use office/residential, that's the left side, the future land use map, and urban 4 or U4 zoning on the Dunbar property. Like I said, it is located within the Pleasant Street Historic District and is considered a contributing structure to the historic district as well. Here's the floor plan that the applicant is proposing. So they are adding outdoor seating. You'll see some outdoor seats essentially in their rear yard, approximately 12 as shown on the plan, 8 seats on the front porch. The initial plan I'd like to address included this tiled space on the south side of the property. And during the special use permit review process, it was discovered that this area is actually in the area that's zoned RC, which does not allow restaurants as a permitted use. So the area is being excluded from outdoor seating for the restaurant, but that is part of this application. So they are not proposing any on-site parking. They've entered into several different parking agreements to try to address that as part of this proposal. They will be utilizing some parking to the south, which is under common ownership. That is right here on the slide. And they're also adding bike racks near the rail trail to the northwest, and then on 4th Street as well. Staff reviewed the petition and found that it met the review criteria for a special use permit in section 30-3.24 of the Land Development Code. In 2021, the Plan Board found that the restaurant use was consistent with the surrounding area. The owner can operate the restaurant currently within the regulations of the current special use permit, but of course there proposals to change some of those conditions, mainly the seating limitation and I believe the hours as well. More details on the petition meeting the review criteria can be found in the staff report. Staff recommends approval of LD 25-000039. I'm here for question with conditions, actually, sorry. So I'd like to present the conditions as well. So condition 1 limits the hours of operation to Monday through Sunday from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Condition 2 stipulates the parking requirement. So parking shall be provided at the subject property as per the joint use of parking facilities agreement. So there are several different parking agreements entered into the record here. Condition 3 is for deliveries to occur outside of peak hours of traffic. So consolidated off-site off of Northwest 4th Street to the extent practicable to minimize impacts to the neighborhood. And condition 4 is requiring that bike parking as shown on the site plan. As part of this application as well, staff received 3 letters in opposition and 1 in support. They were emailed to you for your consideration as well. I'm here for any questions that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Chan. Are there any questions for Mr. Chan? Ms. Bell?
Thank you, Mr. Chan. Just a quick question. So we were talking about seats when it comes to changing the limitations, and so they're asking to have no limitation.
That's correct. So the restaurant use is currently approved with a special use permit that the plan board granted in 2021. That had a condition for seating that they're proposing to remove.
Just remove it, not replace it with a different number.
That's correct.
Okay, because yeah, I was wondering about seats versus occupancy, because most of the public comment received over email was related to the potential noise and the larger groups, etc. So no limitation.
That's correct.
Other than like fire marshal occupancy stuff.
That's correct.
Okay.
The occupancy, limitations would still apply, and of course, the city's noise ordinance would also be in effect as well.
For outdoor events, do you happen to know if there's like a limit based on the size of the parcel? Because I know there's indoor occupancy, but what about, do we know anything about outdoor?
If it's an enclosed area, and it depends on the ingress and egress, I believe.
Do you know?
Because you have to be able to move people.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we can speak to some of the concerning comments we received about like what the maximum capacity of the site for an evening event might be. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not aware from the occupancy standpoint for outdoor events. I think occupancy is typically limited to the indoor aspect, but sorry, I'm unable to answer that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Nay?
I'm just wondering, other businesses in that neighborhood, are they required to like have their deliveries after hours and not use the public right of way? Because there's like Flatfish, there's Kirby and Queen, there's other places around there. Do they have those requirements put on their business?
I'm not aware of others. This is a unique situation, essentially because it's urban 4 zoning, and that allows the restaurant with special use permit. I'm not aware of the zoning on other properties and how that plays out. I would be willing to look into it and bring information back for those items.
Yeah, I just don't want to put undue requirements on them when a delivery doesn't last that long, and everybody has an Amazon truck come to their house every feels like my house every day, but sorry.
Okay, any other questions from the board for staff before we go to the applicant? Okay, does the applicant have a presentation?
My name is Simon McClung. I'm a member of the Dunbar applicant team. We did submit a presentation, but I think we would all prefer to wait and give that presentation at the meeting where the vote will take place.
Okay, that's fine. I guess we will go to public comment then. If there's members of the public here this evening that would like to speak, feel free to come forward, state your name for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes.
And you can come back if you get one.
Will they be able to speak next
Yes,
time? That's what I was
yes.
gonna ask.
Yeah, you can come back again next month.
Hello, everybody. Hi, my name is Gregory Stutz. I'm the owner of the building, and I sent you a letter in support of this. I'm trying to convey this to them. I don't feel like I should own this building, as I said in my letter. And I would like the public to know that, I hate public speaking, so I'm sorry I gotta catch my breath. But in the years that I've owned this building, I've been approached multiple times by places that are looking to do rehab for sexual predators, drug rehab, and multiple other things. And they're the only people who have asked me to lease this building. And I've held off because I've been looking for the right fit. Respectful people who, when you look out your front door, you're not going to see that traffic, but they can do it by right. So you guys have to understand, I hope you get support. These amazing people who I've known for years, who will be respectful, and if they're not respectful to your neighborhood, they'll have an even bigger problem with me, because I own everything across the street from me. So, but I'm not worried about that, because they're incredible human beings.
Mr. Stutz, could
Sorry.
you speak into the
Sorry,
microphone
they are
for
incredible
those of
people.
us who are hearing impaired?
And I've had years of experience with these specific people doing everything they say they're going to do and just showing tremendous community support. So this is kind of, in my opinion, the last-ditch effort to bring back this building to be something amazing. And I have waited years and a great financial and personal sacrifice to do this. So I'm hoping that this gets approved and that the neighborhood gets behind him and support him, because I once watched a broker stand up here and threaten a strip club for a Depot Park rezoning, and I thought that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. He was like, if you want to approve this, they could open it. He couldn't have done it anyway. He had no idea what he was talking about. I do have some understanding of code and what's possible and what can go in this place. And as a real estate developer, I know the only market. And that's what people are asking me to do. So at a certain point, I can't hold on to this building for any longer. So just be prepared. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Any other members of the public that would like to speak?
Hi, my name is Deborah Thomas, and I live directly across the street from the Dunbar Hotel. Throughout the years, we have seen so many businesses, companies come in, and there's been a lot of issues. But I feel, both me and my husband feel strongly that this restaurant will be an asset to the community. I believe the people who want to establish this have been honest and open with us. Our main concern was parking, because I have disability and need to be able to park in front of my house. And they have reassured us that that's not going to be a problem. I feel like they need the opportunity to establish their restaurant because of all the other things that have been there, and have had issues with. That I believe that they will be honest and open and work with the community. If there's issues, I'm sure that they'll address them. We've had a couple of issues since they've been over there working, and all my husband has to do is go over there and talk with them, and they're very easy to work with. So I think that this will be an asset to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak to this item?
I hope to come back to the next meeting. I'm not sure if I'll be in town, so I'm gonna speak now. My name is Eowyn Poirier. I'm the Administrative Director for Fine, Farcash, and Parla Piano. We're a large sponsor for the Dunbar Hotel. And I say sponsor because we've donated tens of thousands of dollars to get this business going because we believe in it. And the firm itself has spent decades supporting the community, and this is just a small piece of that. And we see the Dunbar as restoring a piece of Gainesville that should have been restored a long time ago. And this family has come in and put themselves out there at large financial risk for themselves. And they've been successful in their other businesses because they work with the community, because they care about Gainesville. You know, one of the letters that I read that was against this talked about the events at Germain's, their other business. And, you know, they're part of a large property. So there's all kinds of events over there. And most of them have nothing to do with Germain's. You know, there are multiple businesses there. There's outdoor events. And the only one that I know that they did was Friendsgiving, where they fed 3,000 people for free. For free. They got sponsors, they spent their own money, and they fed our community. And I just think that the letters against them are frivolous and not well thought out. And, you know, that building used to be a frat house. How many complaints were made for the frat house? And now it's going to be a fine dining establishment with, you know, events, sure, but it's a small property and they care about the people that they have events for. They're not going to cram, you know, and they care about their neighbors. They care about the community, and they've showed it for a very long time. And so our firm believes in them, and we stood up for them, and if I'm in town, I'll be back.
Thank you. Yeah. Anyone else to speak to this item?
My name is Carlton Thomas. I stay right across from the Dunbar Hotel. And like some of the other people said, we've had a number of incidents, even when Mr. Perry had it and any other place. I think with this restaurant, it's going to be an asset. And being that I've dealt with Mr. Shelton and his sister and them, and they've came to me and assured that we won't have the parking problem or the noise problem. And I feel like it should be approved. It's a good idea in this historical area.
Thank you. Anyone else? Last call for public comment on this item. Okay, and again, I apologize. This meeting has been very strange as far as a quorum goes, so we are not going to be able to vote on this item this evening. It will be continued. Our next meeting date is August 28th, so if all of you can mark your calendars now, particularly the applicant should definitely come that evening. And we will take, a final vote at that time. And we'll hear additional testimony, but I'll also ask that staff remind members that missed this evening to watch the video because this item was continued. Yeah, so, and we already took a vote to continue it while we had a quorum. This, like I said, has been kind of an unprecedented meeting as far as voting goes. So we will hear this item again, August 28th. Please come back. Same place, same time, different day. Yes, step on up if you have a question.
Again, Simon McClung with the Dunbar petitioning team. My question would be Dr. Murmer's concerns regarding a city attorney, which apparently y'all said is not a typical thing for these type of special use permits. Is there a way to guarantee that they will be present at the next meeting so we don't run into the same issue? Because this is delaying our process of opening the business and being able to earn revenue.
Yeah, I understand.
I can't remember. I've been on the board. I'm in my 17th year. None of this chaos has ever happened before.
I really apologize. Yeah. We can ask Mr. Edelton, what kind of guarantee can you make that an attorney will be here if that will be necessary for Dr. Murmer's vote?
I have, Madam Chair, I've already reached out to staff and relayed the importance of being here for this item for the next meeting, and that it was relayed that their presence was requested here. Okay. I'm not in charge of them, so I can't guarantee it, but knowing them and having worked with them, I imagine that there's a very high likelihood that they will be here for the next meeting.
And you can confirm that the week prior,
Absolutely.
If the applicant wants to reach out to you. So I would encourage you to reach out to planning, whoever's been handling your petition, or Mr. Chan's our board liaison. So either who's handling this petition actually, now that I think about it. So Mr. Chan will be able to tell you the week prior to the meeting that they've guaranteed an attorney will be here.
Understood. Thank you all very much.
Okay, thank you, and I apologize again. This has been a crazy meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to say I apologize that my attendance situation has at least partially led to the quorum issue. I found out less than 24 hours ago that it was even being brought up. I have a newborn, so I'm not as on top of it. So I apologize that situation has happened, and I don't know if I'm going to be on the board next meeting. So I wanted to just make a quick comment now that my question before was I want to acknowledge all the comments that we've received. I wanted to acknowledge all the comments that we've received, and there were folks that did write in expressing concerns about noise and parking, etc. And I just wanted to hear that answer about the maximum capacity. But I was also moved by the letter from Mr. Stetz indicating the history of the property and how long that he waited to pick someone to allow them to purchase it, and the focus on acknowledging the historical nature of it and wanting to have kind of maintain the cultural importance with the owners and hormones. Sorry, I'm getting emotional, but I was really moved by that, and I think it's awesome. And so I also am a little concerned about parking, because like I used to go to the gym by Jermaine's, and I know the parking agreement is with the Jermaine's lot, and that lot gets full really fast. So I want to state for the record that I am minorly concerned about potential parking issues based on what your capacity could be. And I hope to hear that addressed in the presentation next month if I'm here as a member or as a member of the audience. But in general, I think it's an exciting opportunity to put something in that building that has just sat vacant for so long. And I am looking forward to seeing how it moves forward. So again, apologies for the weirdness. This came about less than 24 hours ago that we might have an issue, and I did not know it would mean I was being removed today. I thought it was going to be a discussion. So sorry, everyone. And to that, if we can talk at the end about if we need to go to the commission like ASAP before the next meeting to find out if I can get potentially reappointed, if the commissioners would give me grace considering my extenuating circumstances, or if y'all need to advertise for a new member, which could again affect quorum if other folks are out of town. So anyway, trying to put that on the record. Thank you.
Yeah, let's put a pin in that for a second, because I want to talk about that issue as well. But we appreciate you all being here. We are going to move forward. I'm going to apologize to all the public works staff in the back. We do not have a quorum to take a vote on your item as well. So I think you're going to have to come back next month. And again, I apologize. We had a crazy member status situation that I've never seen before happen. So we'll see you all August 28th as well, if that works for you folks. Thank you all. We're gonna stick around a little bit more to have member comment, I think. Okay, yeah. But we'll let you all get on with your evenings. Sorry, Gail. Yep. Okay, so member comment, let's pick up where she left off with what is a potential next step. So I am planning to be out of town at the next meeting, which that will put me at my third absence as well. And so I may be out as well. I won't be here next month.
I mean, you already have two?
And I may be, so there was one in March. I was looking at this, and I missed last month because I was on vacation with my family. And I have tickets and a hotel and everything set up to be in Chicago next month.
Wait, so are you off the board too?
So I may be off the board as well.
Like as of today?
So you may have, no, I'm here today.
I mean,
it would
as
be
of-
next time, because I would have one excused, I think.
Be one excused, but you had two. Okay, so really is it three total as long as one's excused? Based on?
This board, your quasi-judicial advisory board, there's
I think it would
one
be-
excused absence.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you failed to attend.
So I would have two non-excused absences as of, and I don't know which one, this list that he sent, it's not
2 out
clear.
of 6.
Yeah, it's not clear which, if either of those was considered excused, because it would,
You.
so I'm
let
confused
the-
about that.
The language in the ordinance, we've been trying to chew through this too to see exactly what it means. So for my understanding for this ordinance is that for this type of board, the quasi-judicial boards, you have 2 out of the 6. And then at that point, when you are absent, you are automatically removed is the phrase in here.
Okay.
But you can do an excused absence, which is you reach out to the board liaison to say, I am absent, and that gets essentially presented to the board and recognized as a part of the attendance. But it's
Okay.
one, you get the one excused absence.
So the board in general, I'm warning you that if this is our policy, and I mean, I'm telling you, I'm going my plan is to be in Chicago on August 28th. You may be in a bigger issue if you're 2 members down and you have to advertise, and like that may bring some urgency to talking to the clerk or the commission
That is urgent.
about solving this issue, because you have a comp plan coming up that you're trying to push through, and it just may be something that needs to be addressed sooner rather than later.
We have zoning and land use changes that this board have asked for and that we intend to bring back in the next several months in succession. That is-
So I would encourage staff to have a conversation with whoever the conversation needs to be had with, to figure out what that means, because my plans indicate that I will not be here at the next meeting. It would be an undue hardship for me to change my plans at this point.
We'll get that
Can we move that meeting?
feedback and answers as soon as possible.
Some years ago, we had this come up with Danica Oliverio, who also had a baby and missed, in her case, we had 3 meetings in a month, and she missed 2 of them. And she was automatically removed, and I spent that month lobbying the city commission, which reappointed her before the next meeting.
That's my understanding in a sort of a rough way for resolution, if that's even the right word for this, that if this ordinance has the automatic removal, that still means you can be appointed, you can be reappointed.
You can be reappointed.
But to
yes.
go through the process for the reappointment.
So would you have to go through the formal process where I'd submit another application, et cetera, or could I like go to the commission meeting and speak during public comment and be like, hey, this happened, does it have to be formally on the agenda, or can I just bring it to them, or do I have to like call my commissioner as a?
My recommendation would be to do both, would be
Yeah.
to speak at the commission at the public opportunity and also apply for the position for the board.
Does the position have to be open for me to apply though?
I think that we rolling take applications for boards in general for the city commission. I mean, for the,
Yeah, that was
for the
a
city.
change in the last year or two, I
Yeah.
think. They talked about doing that. I don't know that it
And
actually got
I'm
implemented.
I will, and I'm happy to bring this conversation up both with our clerk, with the city clerk, and with the city attorney's office to both get confirmation for what you can and cannot do as a member, and whether you're on and off the board, but then also for the clerk to know that we need to initiate the process to have appointments for the position, whether that's a reappointment or whether that opens it up for just a general appointment.
So the other thing I think Josh mentioned is, you know, you're going to be down 2 members
Right.
next meeting, so maybe we do look at moving the date, because if we move the date, I would be able to be here. I mean, I'm like literally flying out like
If we-
Wednesday, the day before.
If we know, if staff, we, and the board know that we can't get a quorum, then we need to change the date and work to change the date for that meeting.
But that would have to be soon, right? Because
Yes.
it takes time to advertise.
It takes
the
time,
meeting.
and to figure out
All
when
these
the room is
folks.
available and tell everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
It would, the easier way is to do a date that's later than what's already scheduled, but if, for whatever reason, if there's the opportunity to do it earlier, then we can work towards that too. But you're absolutely right, we have to do it now, you know, after this meeting.
So that may be something to consider. I mean, that would solve, you know, potentially further delay on, like if I am removed, replacing another member.
Well, I
If
almost
we
wanted to
move the
offer it
August one.
when they were talking, because I'm like, I'd rather the Dunbar folks get their stuff heard sooner, rather
Yeah.
than having to wait so long.
Yeah.
I would vote that we bring back every meeting we get the attendance report.
We used to,
Juan
and
did, and now we no longer do
it
it.
also used to be presented differently. The list that we received from Nate, no offense, was a little confusing. And so it's easier to see like by date, you know, in the columns, and then the members across horizontally. That was just an easier format to read that we had in the past.
Look at Nate, you already prepared.
Oh, there we go.
Prepped.
He probably has me flagged on here.
Sorry
Just
about
like
that.
on the edge.
So just a disclaimer, I'm just stepping into fully doing all of the agenda things and the minutes, the timer, and it's hard to keep up with. But I did find, I just passed out the attendance record that Juan was keeping. I didn't know he had this until I found it. So on the second page is 2024's attendance record, and the first page is 2025's record that I updated. I will also say, I don't know if it was mentioned while I was out talking to the Dunbar folks, but I do rely on your responses to my email to determine the quorum. I did not know about Dr. Murmur's extenuating meeting, so I apologize for that. I didn't. He confirmed.
Let you know, that's okay.
Yeah, he confirmed the meeting. I also did not know that Nick Hill would not be available at this meeting. He did not respond. I called him today.
So then this wasn't an excused absence for him either. So he has 2 unexcused absences potentially.
Last year there were 2 different people who had 2 unexcused absences. So like if this is automatic, if we look at the following meeting, do all of those things they voted on not count?
This meeting was a non-voting meeting.
In August?
I actually had COVID, and I did let him know that.
Yeah.
I said I could show up, and I don't know if non-voting meetings count.
I have a
If
terrible
would've been
attendance
picked
record,
up
I'm sorry.
Then, but that was a non-voting meeting.
But yeah, and then, I guess Sanchez is fine because it wasn't within 6 months. But
Yeah, but if Nick was unexcused today, you could have you have a big issue on your hands. So I would encourage staff to talk to someone, whether it's the clerk, whether it's city manager, whether it's taking it to the commission. I don't know what you need to do, but this is a problem that's going to cause you to not be able to move things forward for a few months if you really have to place a bunch of new members. Now, if there is a shortcutted way that Jamie and I, if I need to, or Nick, if he needs to, can show up at a meeting, it sounds like maybe they figured something out for Donica that she was able to get reappointed maybe by not having a full, open period for applications or whatever. If there's something we can figure out that way, we all probably would reapply if that's a formality, but we need direction from you quickly.
Yeah, and I think that process was prior to this ordinance, which is from 2021, that is what we're working off of now.
So Jason's absence was excused, is that correct, today?
Today, yeah.
That's correct.
Okay.
does the 50% of the meeting thing still exist in here too? Because the ordinance that Nathaniel sent out also had the thing where you have to be present for 50% of the meeting.
Yes.
And so if
When I was
that's
here February, they told me that. because
Yeah, so if
I
you
was-
leave before half the meeting, or if you come late but you're here half the meeting, yeah.
I ended up
So if we
having to
keep
stay later than I
going,
wanted
right, if we're here for 15 more minutes,
Yeah.
Dr. Murmur's counted as absent today because
Yeah.
he would have left early.
Yes.
yeah.
It's very strict.
This
it.
ordinance that we're working with is significantly more strict than what the previous ordinance.
Yeah, you can see the strike through and underline.
Yeah.
It made it a lot more strict.
We're probably having problems getting a quorum. Maybe that was part of why they made it stricter.
Maybe.
I also want to apologize on the confusing rules too, the ones that I had sent versus the ones that I passed out. The ones that I had sent in the email were the ones that were provided to me, and they're in the folder for board rules. So the ones that I passed out just now are the ones that we're looking at.
Okay, so we will expect to hear back from staff on next steps, hopefully within a week. Is that a doable timeframe?
Yes, we need to
Okay,
get those
and
answers.
perhaps we can reach out very early for the next meeting. Can you do a poll on if anyone else has conflicts now? Because that would lend us
For
to
August?
help us reschedule it if we need to. Yeah, for August.
Yeah, sure. Please keep responding to my email.
Yeah. And I try to let you know, a month in advance when I can. So I try to give you all plenty of warning.
5:05 on a Friday, I try to email you back.
Thank you.
Some of us don't get your emails.
Oh,
So that's another apology. I missed you on one of the letters of opposition.
I never got any request of whether I was gonna go, or maybe I did, and I just automatically say yes.
It's generally when he sends the agenda, he tells you.
I never got an agenda this time, so.
Oh.
I did send, and I know for you for sure, because I registered you for the APA conference. Which
Was it on the same email?
it was on the same email, so I didn't send two emails. I just
Oh,
sent one.
I missed that.
That's okay, understandable.
We will get back to you all, of course, for what the interpretation is for this ordinance, what that means for the group, for the body, and also get back with what are the next steps for if there is reappointment or applying for that. And obviously, we'll work on any sort of strategy that we need to given or based off of the board members' feedback for whether they will or will not be here for this next meeting. And if we cannot get a quorum, ascertain a quorum, we'll immediately start working on what that next date is that we can get a quorum.
Reminding everyone that it's the fourth Thursday of every month. You can plan for it a year in advance.
I didn't plan a year in advance for my baby this time, but.
I understand that you missed a whole lot of stuff before then.
Yeah.
Can we go?
Now, the other, if it's helpful, if we don't move the meeting, if I can participate via Zoom, I can probably be on part of the August meeting if that's at all helpful. So I'll throw something else. People do sometimes when they
When I
have
had COVID, I
COVID.
asked Juan if I could attend via Zoom.
It's worth asking again in my,
Okay, so
in
you
my
can throw
opinion.
that out there, that I may not, depending on how many items are on the agenda, I don't know that I can do all of them, but, I may be able to be on part of the meeting via Zoom if that is
I
helpful. But
think that
I
that
would
makes
prefer to move
sense
the date.
to get at the same part of the question and working with the attorneys for what we can and cannot do. I think that that is a good time to ask that question.
Okay, great. All right, so that brings us back to saying our next meeting date for now is August 28th. You all will be in touch with us. And then we will adjourn this crazy meeting